do I need a real estate agent? That is one of the biggest questions, especially here we sit in the spring of 2024, and I'm recording this, and there is a lot of noise around realtors, and I'll cover that in just a couple of minutes. But a lot of people say, John, I can buy a house without a realtor, can't I? Like, do I really need to have a real estate agent? What I'll tell you is, would you perform surgery on yourself? Maybe a better example is, would you represent yourself in a legal battle when the other side has a representative, an attorney who knows everything about the law, and you're representing yourself and you don't know anything? I have a lot of people who say, you know what, I don't think it's worth it for a realtor what they earn. And I think that I could do that myself and save that kind of money. Maybe, but it's what you don't know that will cost you. And there's a lot of situations I can tell you about where buyers ended up not using a realtor, and they ended up not understanding something was an option, not understanding that they could have asked for something, and it cost them thousands of dollars more than what it costs them to pay for their real estate agent. So do you need a realtor? No. Technically, you can buy a house without using a real estate agent. Should you have a realtor? In my opinion, 100% yes, because it's what you don't know that gets you in trouble. As a matter of fact, having a great real estate agent, just like having a great lender, you shouldn't feel the benefit of having that great professional on your side. It should almost feel like in the end, wow, that was really, really easy and smooth. And sometimes leaves you wondering, was it worth the money I paid for that real estate agent? But that's the point. The point is so many things that are handled underneath the surface, under the water. It's kind of like a duck floating through the water, and they look calm and peaceful on the top, but underneath they're paddling like heck. It's the things that happen underneath the surface that you don't know about, the contract negotiations, about the interactions with the lender, and the things that I needed to do with a realtor that the realtor is going to bring up to me that you wouldn't know to bring up to me. And so do I think it's important to have a real estate agent? Yes, I absolutely do. Is it mandatory? No. So let's talk about the what's really going on right now. You're hearing a lot of stuff on the news. Depending upon when you're watching this, this may have already rolled out, and this may be just, you know what the facts are, but I'm going to take a couple minutes and just explain, because for a lot of my buyers, you're buying right now or about ready to buy, you're in the process of getting pre-approved, or for some of you, you're waiting for your voucher for Dream for All. And you're thinking about what's going to happen once I'm ready to start shopping. Well, what you're hearing in the news right now is you're hearing about what's called a decoupling of the buyer's agent's commission from the listing or seller's agent's commission. What has happened historically is when a seller lists their home for sale, the agent representing the seller, that's interviewing to represent the seller, says, hey, you're going to pay us X percentage, and I'm going to share that with the person that brings the buyer. So there's going to be somebody representing you, the seller, and somebody representing the buyer. And most buyers don't have the cash to pay for their own representation. The industry changed, and they said, hey, you know what? We're actually going to include that with the seller's costs so that the seller is covering that cost, because they typically have the equity where they can cover it, and the buyer doesn't need to come out of pocket with it. Well, now that is basically separating, and the buyer, you are going to have to sign an agreement with your realtor. So do I need to sign an agreement with my realtor? The answer is yes. You control the scope of that agreement. But before you can go look at a home, you have to sign an agreement with that realtor that covers what you will pay them if you're successful in buying a home. Now, you can have the agreement be for one specific home. It could be for a short period of time. It could be for 6 months on any home that you buy. That's entirely up to you and how comfortable you are working with that agent. Just recognize that realtor is putting in a lot of time and energy and effort into you. And for you to say, hey, I want to look at homes with you for 7 days straight, and I want to look 3 hours a day for all 7 of those days. They just spent 21 hours with you. And now you say, okay, now I'm going to go ahead and look for another agent just for the fun of it. That person's put in a lot of time. So respect the realtor, but also don't be disrespected by the realtor. Some realtors, the moment they meet you, are going to say, hey, here's an agreement you got to sign here. I'm going to send it to your phone, and you have to agree to work with me for the next 6 months. Anything you buy, you have to use me for the next 6 months. You don't have to sign an agreement with that length of time. You can say, hey, let's date before we get married. You're in control. But the rules are effective August 15th. At least that's the current projected date. Starting August 15th, you have to sign an agreement with your realtor before you can tour a home. So be ready to sign that agreement. Be ready to talk to your realtor.